Hello all, welcome to Form Fully channel. In this video, we are going to see the multiple choice questions which are based on the Agile and Scrum. First question is, the leadership model followed by Scrum Master is, options are micromanagement, command and control, servant leadership. The correct option is servant leadership. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team by facilitating Scrum events, coaching team members, and removing impediments. They focus on enabling and empowering the team to self-organize and make decisions and fostering a culture of collaboration and continuous improvement. The other options, micromanagement and command and control approaches, are generally discouraged in Scrum because they hinder the team's ability to self-organize, innovate, and respond quickly to changing requirements. So correct option is servant leadership. Next question. In empiricism, the decisions are based on meeting and brainstorming, observation, experience and experimentation, scientific calculation and prediction. So in empiricism, the decisions are based on observation, experience and experimentation. Empiricism is a philosophical approach that emphasizes the importance of sensory experience and evidence in the formation of knowledge. It relies on direct observation and experimentation as the foundation for understanding the world and making decisions. So correct option is second option. Next question. What does the Scrum Master manage? Options are Scrum technology, Scrum people, Scrum framework, all of them, none of them. And the correct option is third, Scrum framework. What is the standard used by the product owner and Scrum team to identify unfinished work in a sprint? Options are coding standard, definition of done, definition of ready, Scrum framework. And the correct option is second, definition of done. The definition of done is a set of criteria or standard that must be met for a product increment to be considered complete and potentially releasable. It is a shared understanding within the Scrum team of what it means for work to be finished and ready for delivery. Unfinished work in a sprint can be identified by checking whether it meets the criteria specified in the definition of done. So correct option is definition of. Next question. It is mandatory that the definition of done includes release to production. Is this statement true or false? And this statement is false. The release to production in the definition of done is not mandatory in Scrum. The definition of done represents the criteria that must be met for a product increment to be considered complete and potentially releasable. However, whether the release to production occurs immediately after the completion of each increment is a decision made by the product owner and stakeholders based on business needs, release schedules, and other factors. Next question. It is essential for the product owner to have the skills. Usually, Scrum Master serves the product owner by coaching him in. Options are software application development, product planning in empirical environments, coaching team, understanding and practicing agility. So the two skills that are typically important for the product owner and in which Scrum Master may serve by coaching are, first is product planning in empirical environment. The product owner needs to be skilled in product planning within the context of Scrum, which is an empirical process framework. Second is understanding and practicing agility. The product owner benefits from a deep understanding of agile principles and values. This includes embracing the agile mindset, focusing on delivering values, adapting to change, and collaborating with stakeholders effectively. So these are the two statements. In sprint review, along with the review of the product increment and progress, what to do next is also discussed. Options: false, true, and it may capture probable backlog items for next sprint, but the scope of the next sprint is deferred until sprint planning. True, and the scope of the next sprint is also finalized here. The correct option is second. In the sprint review, the Scrum team and stakeholders review the product increment and progress made during the sprint. Additionally, the product owner discussed what to do next, which may include capturing probable backlog items for the next sprint. However, the other options, the detailed planning and finalizing of the scope for the next sprint occurs during the subsequent sprint planning meeting. Moving to next question. 3 development teams are working as a part of a big project to develop a product. When sprints are in motion, there will be options are 1 product backlog and 1 sprint backlog, 1 product backlog and 3 sprint backlogs, 3 product backlogs and 3 sprint backlogs. In Scrum, when multiple development teams are working on a large project, there will be typically the 1 product backlog and multiple sprint backlogs. Each Scrum team works from the same product backlog, which represents the priority list of features, enhancements, and bug fixes for the entire project. The product owner is responsible for maintaining and prioritizing this single product backlog. However, each Scrum team has its own sprint backlog, which is a subset of the product backlog items selected for the current sprint. So the correct option is 1 product backlog and 3 sprint backlogs. Next question. What is an increment? Options are the sum of the value of all increments from previous iterations integrated with the product backlog items done in the latest sprint, the sum of product backlog items done in the latest sprint, the sum of product backlog items selected into a sprint backlog. So the correct definition of increment is first. An increment is a potential releasable version of the product that includes all the work completed during the sprint plus all the previous increments. A Scrum team has 5 members, each one works on a different product. What could we infer about the team? Options are the potential of teamwork and benefit of Scrum is less. All of them still will have a common definition of done. The team implements diversity, a principle of Scrum. The team will have higher productivity since division of work is clear. And the correct option is first, the potential of teamwork and benefit of Scrum is less. Next question. The development team tries to put together some guidelines on testing approach. Who will own these guidelines? Options are Scrum Master, Test Lead, Development Team. So the guidelines on the testing approach as part of the development process would typically be owned by the development team. In Scrum, the development team is responsible for all aspects of product development, including determining how the work is done, and the team collaborates to establish best practice, guidelines, and approaches, including those related to the testing. Next question. Burn up and burn down chart shows evaluation of progress over time. In particular, burn up shows increase in team productivity while burn down shows decrease in productivity. Burn up shows increase in turnaround time while burn down shows decrease in turnaround time. Burn up shows increase in completion while burn down shows remaining efforts. And the correct option is third option. Burn up chart shows the cumulative progress of completed work over time, while in other hand, the burn down chart shows the remaining work, efforts, story points or tasks over time. Next question. The Scrum team, based on the learning from previous sprints, decide to revisit the length of the sprint. What is the appropriate Scrum event to discuss and agree on the change? Options are daily Scrum, sprint planning, sprint retrospective, sprint review, and the correct option is sprint retrospective. During the sprint retrospective, the Scrum team reflects on the just concluded sprint, identifies what went well and what could be improved, and discusses potential changes to improve their processes. Next question. What is a key inspect and adapt meetings for development team? Options are project status meeting, daily Scrum, design sessions, and the correct option is daily Scrum. The daily Scrum is a short daily meeting where the development team comes together to inspect progress towards the sprint goal. Next question. Only the product owner can come up with items that can be considered for product backlog. Other cannot provide input, recommendations, ideas about new items. Is this statement true or false? And the statement is false. In Scrum, while the product owner is responsible for prioritizing and managing the product backlogs, it is not accurate to say that only the product owner can come up with ideas for the product backlogs. Next question. Does the application of Scrum guarantee the success of software projects? Options are: Scrum increases the opportunity to control risk and optimize the predictability of progress. Scrum is a framework to solve complex problems using teamwork. It does not guarantee anything. Yes. Compared to waterfall, it's yes. And the correct choices are Scrum increases the opportunity to control risk and optimize the predictability of progress. Scrum provides transparency, regular inspections, and adaptation, which can help in identifying and mitigating risk early. Second choice is Scrum is a framework to solve complex problems using teamwork. It does not guarantee anything. While Scrum provides a structured framework for managing complex projects and emphasizing collaboration and adaptability, it does not guarantee the success. Yes. A short expression of a purpose of a sprint, which is often a business need, is called as acceptance criteria, sprint goal, definition of done, and the correct option is sprint goal. This is a concise summary of what the Scrum team aims to achieve during the sprint. It provides guidance to the development team on why the work is being done and help align the team efforts towards a common objective. Next question. The architectural features of the product needs to be completely designed upfront before the sprint, evolved along with sprint deliveries, decided at least at a skeleton level in sprint 0, and the correct option is second option, evolved along with sprint deliveries. In Scrum, the approach is iterative and incremental. The product is developed incrementally over multiple sprints, and the architecture can evolve over time. Next question. Sprint longer than 1 calendar month may result in, options are: too much to inspect in short meetings, increased complexity needing more traditional controls like documentations, detached stakeholders, all of the above. And the correct option is all of the above. Next statement. When more Scrum teams are added to a project that works on a single product, the productivity of the original Scrum teams mostly likely will increase. Is this statement true or false? And this statement is probably the false statement. Adding more Scrum teams to a project does not guarantee an automatic increase in productivity for the original Scrum teams. It depends on the other several factors like coordination overhead, communication challenges, scaling issues, and learning curves. Next question. Sprint backlog is modified throughout the sprint. What does development team needs to do as soon as a new task is identified? Options are: product owner adds it to the sprint backlog and communicates about it to the Scrum team. Scrum Master adds it to the sprint backlog and communicates about it to Scrum team. Development team adds it to the sprint backlog and communicates about it to Scrum team. The correct option is third option. In Scrum, the sprint backlog is a dynamic document that the development team owns. It represents the work that the team has committed to delivering during the current sprint. So correct option. Next question. Under this part of the sprint planning, the development team is more active in planning and product owner is mostly observing or clarifying in. Part 2, how? Part 1, what? In sprint planning, part 1, what, is where the product owner is more active, and part 2, how, is where the development team is more active. So the development team is more active in planning during part 2 of the sprint. Next question. A development team has created a sprint backlog in the form of a task board. What is your inference as a Scrum Master? Options are: Scrum Master must coach the team to create proper sprint backlog in the form of a list of backlog items, related tasks and estimations. The team can choose to represent it any form that makes sense. It is okay to have it in task board format, but it must be ensured that it follows Kanban guidelines. And the correct option is second option. In Scrum, there is no prescribed format for the sprint backlog. So, therefore, the team can choose to represent it in any form that makes sense. Next question. Middle of the sprint, the development team finds that some of the product backlog items forecast for the sprint cannot be finished because they need significant additional efforts. However, the development team can still meet sprint goals with the rest of the items. What is the next thing to do? Options are: do not cancel or modify the sprint, extend the sprint duration as required for the additional efforts, consult with product owner, and if they agree, have them cancel the current sprint and plan new sprint with new estimations. Remove the product backlog items that cannot be progressed. Collaborate with the product owner to add new work up to team's capacity. Complete the sprint. And the correct option is last one. In Scrum, if during a sprint the development team determines that they cannot complete some of the forecasted product backlog items, the recommended course of action is to collaborate with the product owner, and the team and the product owner should discuss which item can be removed from the sprint backlog and new work can be added to meet the sprint goal. Moving to next question. In middle of the sprint, the development team finds that it has more capacity to take more work. What is the next best thing to do? Options are: make it transparent to product owner immediately and collaborate to add additional work. Keep that as a contingency to accommodate unplanned work. Consult and follow Scrum Masters and follow their direction. And the correct option is first, make it transparent to the product owner immediately and collaborate to add additional work. In Scrum, transparency is a fundamental principle. If the development team identifies that it has more capacity to take on additional work during the sprint, it is important to communicate this information transparently to the product owner. Sprint planning helps in release plan, building entire technical architecture, staffing plan, testing strategies, none of the above. And the correct option is none of the above. Thanks for watching. Do like, share and subscribe.